Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the WeHero Learn series. We're so thankful we're here because we have a wonderful guest from an incredible company called Purpose and Expenses, or as I like to say, Pi. And our guest is Jamie, who is the co-founder and COO of this company. We're very, very excited to have Jamie here because this is something that we can do for almost every business that's very cost effective, that's very easy to do, easy to set up, and creates a huge amount of impact by taking something like our expenses to subscriptions like Zoom, to Amazon Web Services, so on and so forth. And there's so many companies that can make a huge amount of impact just by doing this service. And so that's why we're very excited that Jamie is here. So Jamie, welcome to the show. And we're so thankful that you're taking the time to be here today. Maybe the first question I have for you is, let's dive into the tandem bike ride across the globe. I want that to be our very first starting point. So could you tell us a little bit about that bike ride and how this idea for Pi came about?
Yeah, so I had an idea to ride a tandem bicycle around the world and invite strangers on an empty back seat. So to pilot the front seat, invite strangers, and it was called Peace Peddlers. And the idea was to be able to ride with people from all different languages, cultures, and religions, and broker peace one bike rider at a time. It's one of those ideas I had in my late 20s, and so in order to do that, I needed to raise some money and some sponsors. And so went out and started to find corporate sponsors. I found about 40 corporate sponsors, Panasonic and some other nice sponsors who believed in this mission I had to lower unjust fears and prejudices in the world by using this bicycle tour as a vehicle. And one company that I approached didn't have any money in their budget to give to me. They also didn't have any product to donate because it was mostly a software company. But they said, what else can we do? We love what you're doing, but we can't donate cash right now. We don't have anything to donate to you. What other options are there besides writing a check? But they really wanted to support. So I started thinking out of the box. We needed to raise some extra money. And what we ended up coming up with was I became their independent technology advisor or their independent technology partner. And what they allowed me to do was to reprocure their current services that they have. Like every business needs to have the internet, they need to have phones, they need to have conferencing, they need to have a very big series of fixed technology expenses that every company needs to operate. And they allowed me to just simply reprocure those expenses under me as an independent technology advisor. And by doing that, everything stayed the same. There was no downtime. There was no increase in cost. But what ended up happening was those technology providers, which was Verizon at the time, Verizon ended up paying us every single month after month, year after year. So while I was out traveling the world, those expenses that the company had to pay anyways ended up generating a recurring stream of financial support for me while I was traveling in other countries. So, and as that company scaled, the company scaled from about 20 employees to about 250 employees. This amount of recurring support ended up growing year after year and ended up really being a very important stream of support to help me finish an 8-year, 81 country trip around the world.
It's amazing. I just love the story. And you have a book, right, Jamie? If folks are interested, check out Jamie's book. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So Jamie, talk to me a little bit about how simple this is for businesses to do, and talk a little bit about where you are as a business today. And for folks that are listening, WeHero actually just went through this program. We actually just went through Jamie's program. Our expenses are all run through him now. It didn't cost us anything additional. There was no downtime for us. It took me probably like 15 minutes for us to get this set up realistically. Yeah. And now we're actually making impact for nonprofits that we're selecting, which is really exciting. So Jamie, can you talk to just how simple this is to do for companies that are interested in making an impact in this way?
Sure. Well, every business has expenses. So Purpose and Expenses, Pi, the name of our company, is about finding ways to increase impact using something you already have, which is your business expenses, right? So what we did with WeHero, as Ben said, it takes very little time. What we basically need to do is get a list of some of the common expenses you have, whether it be Zoom like we're on right now, or your phone, or your internet, or your software and email. Get a list of what those looks like. Usually someone from finance does that in about 15 minutes. And then we go through and do an analysis on that very quickly and are able to find and let a business know within a couple of days on our time of what we can do to create a new recurring stream of donations just based on re-procuring those services under our platform, right? So we're an authorized reseller with Google, with Microsoft, with AWS, and 500 different providers. So pretty much any technology service stack that anybody has, we can re-procure those with purpose and generate new recurring streams of support. And it's literally a couple minutes, never more than an hour total time, generally, to go and do the analysis and to even do the actual re-procurement.
Let's double click on the downtime again. I know we already talked about like this no downtime piece of this, and that was my big concern when I first heard about the program. It's like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to drop our Zoom calls for a day, or what is that going to look like? And I think about like just AWS, for example, and hosting, like that'd be a big fear for me. Is like, is this going to disrupt any of our hosting capabilities? So can you talk about that downtime piece, Jamie, and how we make sure that there's no downtime across the board for any services?
Sure. The technology providers, it's probably important to know that there's a big trend and a big shift of technology providers themselves. Take AWS, take Microsoft, take Google, right? They want to move end customers to partner relationships, right? So I'm a partner versus a direct relationship. A direct relationship is with somebody just pays their Google bill every single month and you're working directly with Google. Google's management actually by 2030 wants every single business customer pushed over to partners, because partners better handle those relationships and there's better customer satisfaction. There's also better retention. So they don't want there to be any downtime in that shift. So there's not that shift is any data migration. It's not that shift is any major, it's literally a billing change, right? It's a very quick, simple billing change. As you went through, it takes 15 minutes or less to go through the process, and everything stays the same. So the Zoom calls stay the same, all the logins stay the same, all the back end data stays the same. It's just an ownership of the account that changes, which is where the billing and kind of the money moves, right? And the way our business model works quite simply is that we're a B corporation, pure purpose-driven technology partner. So our business model is to donate the revenue we receive by the technology providers for managing your account, right? So WeHero uses the Zoom calls we're on right now, or uses the email that they use every single day. We get compensated and we split our revenue with your nonprofit partner. And so there is no downtime because there's nothing really changing. It's just account ownership that's changing, really a rebilling, so to speak.
It's pretty cool that the Zoom call right now that we're on, how we're recording this, it's purpose powered, as Jamie would say, which is really exciting. Let's talk about the fun part of this, Jamie, which is like the nonprofits and the actual impact that's created. Can you talk about that part of the setup process in regards to selecting nonprofits? Can folks choose nonprofits that they're really passionate about? Is there any kind of reports they receive? Just, I think folks would be really curious about that, especially as we have CSR and ESG leaders that are interested in doing this with their companies as well.
Yeah. So when we go through the process of doing the analysis, the first thing we'll do is just get that list, find out how many users you have on various kind of key technology services and business services that you're using. And then when we go to the next phase, we'll say, okay, this is what it would look like when we purpose power that service, right? After we do the migration of the rebilling and the re-procurement over, we'll then say there's going to be approximately $1,000 a month that's available for your nonprofit of choice. So your first question is, can they choose the nonprofits? Absolutely. Whether it's an existing nonprofit, for some people, it's a nonprofit that they wanted to donate to, but they just haven't had the budget. So now you'd have new budget, a new recurring budget that can be allocated out to a new nonprofit. And so, yeah, they can choose that nonprofit, and then we don't have a formal report right now. We don't have a dashboard. We're still a startup, quite frankly. So we are going to plan to build that out and build some integrations and things to various software programs in the future as we grow. But for now, it'll come in an Excel format on an annual basis that you get an understanding of each service, where those services are going, and a confirmation that the donations have been made. We make the donations on behalf of the company. So we do the donations, and so you get to still have our clients still get to have the benefit of that recurring stream, but they don't have to handle the donation. It doesn't cost them any money.
This next question, Jamie, is going to seem like somewhat of an obvious answer, I think, for most of us, but I'd love you just to hear your take on this, because I think you have a really good view and picture of why this is so important for companies. And the question is, why should companies really consider doing this? Obviously, companies are making other forms of donations right now, other forms of
Sure.
giving, skills-based volunteering, so on and so forth. But why should companies really consider doing this right now?
I'd say two reasons. The first reason is because if a company is truly purpose driven, they really want to maximize their ability to use their company as a force for good, right? That is why they're existing. They're purpose led. They're finding ways. They're being creative, and they're leaving. Most companies don't understand there's an opportunity that they didn't even understand, that they're leaving money on the table. These technology providers have already allocated a portion of these budgets to partners, and if they don't take advantage of that opportunity, they're really leaving money on the table. And because it's so simple, it's really a no-brainer to do it, in my opinion, and to increase and maximize that impact. Another really strong benefit is that because uh, the actual employees touch these services every
Mm,
day, whether it be a Zoom call or whether it be a phone call, whether it be their email, it could be messaged to the team of that enhanced and increased commitment to purpose. That in a quarterly meeting, like what some of our clients do is, every quarter that they go live with a new purpose powered service, they'll communicate that to their team and say, hey, by the way, starting now, every email you send is purpose powered. So every, this exact actual service that we are more deeply dedicated to purpose, because we're going into the infrastructure of our company and finding ways to increase our impact in the services. So it happens to be that that's a nice benefit, because there's so much daily touch to those services, that the services themselves can also help with morale and employee engagement and things like that are also important for leaders.
mhm. Employees really do care about this stuff. And I love that we can take something that might seem pretty mundane, right? And actually put purpose behind it and impact behind it, which I think is really special. I think for anybody that's in CSR ESG that's listening to this, we all have goals, right? Around the social impact that we need to be making and the amount of donations that we're trying to contribute to nonprofits that we're supporting right now. And this is a great way to help reach those goals. If you're falling a little bit behind, or you're looking to just overachieve some of the impact goals you have right now, this is a great, really easy thing that you don't have to go get budget for to plug into your programming right now. And so one of the big reasons we wanted to have Jamie on is that we just think this is a great solution for all of you that have those social impact goals and you're in charge of creating social impact at your company. And so, yeah, Jamie, we're really thankful you're sharing this with us. And Jamie, for folks that are listening, what's a really good, easy way just to dip their toe in the water with this? I think it's obviously a little new for folks. It's really easy to do. I can definitely vouch for that. But one of the things that I did was I just kind of sent you a list of vendors, and you got back to me in like a couple days time with what was possible. Is that a good, easy next step for folks that are interested in doing this, to reach out to you, maybe do that vendor list and
Yeah.
see what the kind of impact could look like?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're a smaller company. We have some of the smaller companies in the dozen, 2 dozen employees. And those can generate hundreds of dollars of recurring donations. And then when we start to move into larger organizations and into the enterprise, you're talking about thousands or tens of thousands of dollars of recurring donations that nonprofits can budget for their operating budgets, right? That it's not dilutive. And so the first step, obviously, yes, is just reach out to me. We can do a short meeting like we did, about 15 minutes, just to run through the program a little bit. And then the vendor list, we have a non-disclosure agreement. It's a one-page non-disclosure agreement, so they feel comfortable sharing the vendor list over with us. And then from there, it's pretty simple. We just go through and we kind of identify the low-hanging fruit of where we can definitely quickly make an impact. And then go through a process that can give them a really quick snapshot of what's possible, without a lot of distraction and time suck, as you can attest to. It's not something that you have to create a project for and have a project leader for and take people off other projects. It's pretty simple. Most admins or finance admins can probably handle most of it.
Yep, it's super easy. Jamie, what else are we not sharing with folks? What do people need to hear about your company, about what you're doing? Open mic here for you.
I would say that, at scale, the potential of, it's probably important people to know that the technology industry at a global scale is at about $4.5 trillion in spend, right? So everything's moving into the cloud, all the SaaS applications, communications, And so it's a large amount of money. And what people, I think the most exciting aspect of this is you ask for what other reasons would somebody want to consider doing that, and that's just to be part of something that's can be really very impactful, right? Because nonprofits in general, the nonprofit leaders spend a lot of time raising money. They're spending money on the phone, and they're hiring teams to raise money. They're hiring teams to do events and send mailers, and there's so much administrative cost to raising money. And what's powerful about this program is that these donations get tied to fixed costs. They get tied to something that's as fixed as that bill for your email, and that bill for your hosting, and that bill for your communications, right? And those donations become just as fixed. So there's no dilutive cost to those donations coming in. And if we can do that at scale, like enterprises and larger businesses doing this at scale, we can literally fund operating budgets of a lot of nonprofits with no dilution, right? No distraction. So those teams can do the impact that we want them to do without the distractions of getting back on the phone and doing another meeting, and also the costs of that capital that they raise being diluted by all those costs to go and compete with all the other nonprofits all fighting for the very limited amount of funds. So it has the ability to create literally millions, if not billions of dollars of recurring donations. But we do need some companies, some early adopter, larger companies to get on board to continue to validate it, like WeHero did, and we have about 6 clients now. So we need to bring that to 60 or 600, and we can watch this thing really scale and really create some incredible impact.
Yeah, I love the vision you have for how these nonprofits are supported, and just understanding the operating costs that they have right now, and how we can just even eliminate just a part of that with this work is really, really incredible. So love that you're doing this, Jamie. How can people get a hold of you? Where can people find the company and the website? Like, what are those details?
Sure. Purpose in Expenses is our domain. So it's easy to remember. Purpose in Expenses, or PI, easy to remember, PI, Purpose in Expenses. And up there's lots of call to actions to take the first step, which is a 15-minute meeting. It never goes over 15 minutes on that first meeting. And that's where we just identify that if there's a good fit, right? And if there is, it's a very short step that they can take from there, and get a chance to know us, get a chance to know me, my wife, my co-founder, and we're a small yet very capable team that can really make an impact in your organization.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for jumping on, Jamie. I think it's so important that you're taking the time to do this, because again, I think so many companies can benefit from this. I can't think of a company that cannot benefit from this, and it doesn't cost anything. There's almost no risk to this whatsoever. And it's a great way to generate increasing impact for your company. So I hope a lot of people take Jamie up on his offer, jump on the phone with him for 15 minutes. And if you want to go beyond that 15 minutes, ask Jamie about his bike ride. It's a pretty incredible story. And I've definitely spent like an hour plus talking to Jamie just about the bike ride. So definitely get in touch with them. So Jamie, thank you so much for jumping on, and we wish you the best of success with this business.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it, everyone.
Thanks, Jamie.
Have a good day.
Hi, I'm Christina, and this is my husband Jamie, and we are the founders of PI, Purpose in Expenses. We have created a simple and proven funding model to transform your expenses into donations to the causes you love.
Let's take a look at your company pie. After paying costs and expenses, hopefully your profit slice of the pie is as big as possible. The amount of donations from profits depends on how much needs to be paid for taxes, growth, and stakeholders. For most companies, the slice for donations is small.
This is not enough pie to fund the causes we care about.
53% of nonprofits are underfunded. How can companies increase funding to create more impact?
Let's look at expenses, which are a huge part of your pie. Let's take one slice, technology. $4.5 trillion is now spent on tech annually.
Providers like this deliver services we rely on, like email, internet, phones, cloud services, security, and payment gateways.
So what if businesses could donate a percentage of this big slice of their pie?
You can. It's a simple procurement choice.
Providers like this let you choose how to procure your services, direct or partner. Simply choose PI as your partner.
When you do, your providers pay us every month to maintain your account. We then split our recurring revenue with your nonprofit partners. This creates long-term recurring impact at no cost to your company. This is our purpose and our passion.
Now you have a choice. Continue making cash donations only from profits.
Or add on additional recurring donations from your expenses with Pi. Engagement is free. And yes, you can keep your current technology providers in place, and no, there's no downtime and very minimal distractions. Most companies are leaving thousands of dollars of potential recurring donations on the table by not leveraging this simple and proven funding model that's already working in many companies today.
We can't wait to help your team share more of your pie with the causes you love. Please book some time to chat with us to see how easy it is to create more long-term impact with Pi.